All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. My name is Djahid. I'm 26 years old, and I am a student at Ghent University. I study psychology there. And in the past few years, I've been active in nightlife, where I host events and curate nightlife, especially in Ghent. And for the second season of GIMIC Radio, I've been asked to do a podcast, and I decided to do it about queer cultures and nightlife. And the podcast is called Respect the Roots. So what we're mainly going to do is we're going to talk about specific communities and genres within the nightlife scene in Belgium, how some communities really are formed because of the identity that we have, and how it really impacted our life and nightlife in general. For the first episode, we're going to talk about queer nightlife and how the queer community has really been connected to nightlife not only here but also for other people that are not part of the community, and how it has affected us and how it is seen from the outside world. For this episode, I have two guests, Sasha and Alistair, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves before we start with the podcast.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I'm Alistair Mees. People may be wondering who the fuck is Alistair Mees. Well, I am a Brussels-based. I call myself a media artist because that's what I studied, media art, and I do music production. I DJ. I'm also a mixing engineer for podcasting mostly, and I also have some scholarly interests, but that's mostly into uh, visualities and visual communications. But yeah, that's me. So
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. On my side, I am Sasha. I live in Brussels since 2019 now. I work at Recyclar, where I'm part of the production team and also the communication team. Since a bit more than 1 year, I opened a booking agency here in Brussels, a speed agency. And also, I'm the promoter behind Porny Night, the club night of the BPFF, Brussels Porn Film Festival. Yeah, I think that's me.
That's it. Okay, we're going to dive right into the topic. So first, we're going to try and define queer nightlife for ourselves. So what we're going to do is share our own experiences within nightlife, the nightlife scene here in Brussels and beyond, and really try to define how we see it for ourselves. I'm going to start to give like an example. To me, queer nightlife has really been a way to know myself and get to know myself better through parties, but also through the community that I met while partying. I've really got to learn a lot about myself, what I want to do in life, how I want to be seen, and how I want to act when I'm outside. And it really helped shaped who I am as a person. I will forever be grateful for that, which is also why I chose this topic, because it has been very important for my own development. And I think a lot of queer people can really feel the same about it. So for me, it's inherently a part of who I am. And when I go out, it's not just to have fun and see my friends or drink or just have fun. It's really a way to express myself and to get to know myself better and feel more comfortable in my own skin. So the first question that I want to ask is, how do you to define queer nightlife for yourself?
I will start, I guess. Yeah, I do agree with your definition. For me, on my side, I think it's also a place of discovery and diversity as well, but also it's a challenging notion because I feel there is a lot to say about it, and it's a fragile ecosystem that it's always really linked with the time that we are living in. But yeah, I would say diversity, party euphoria sometimes, but also a lot of deceptions, and really connect to our struggles, I would say, to give a vast definition. And
yeah, for me, I think queer nightlife is less so like a physical space or like an activity. Like I think of it less concretely. I think for me, it's more of like an endless possibility in who you present and what you are, and it's because I once wrote this phrase for those who cannot be divas in the daylight, and I
Exactly.
think that's to me is like the cultural reproduction of queer nightlife. It is the endless possibility of being who you can be, and I also I see queer nightlife more as a thing I interact with, or like something that inspires me, rather than that I feel like it's a space for me to uh, like. Of course, it's a space for me to be in, but that's not for me its main function. I see it more as like a space that inspires me, and a form of cultural reproduction that you want to be a part of and you want to work to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think it's very important to state that the community that we're in and the parties that we go to, there are a lot of different types of queer parties and queer events, and sometimes we really identify with the parties that we go to, which makes these events more than just a night out. It's really a way to connect with the people that you feel a connection with, and it's also for me a part of reflection of who I want to be. When I go to queer events, I'm very specific in the events that I go to, because I think it's very important that the values that I have are represented in the parties that I go to. And I feel like queer parties fit me the most. And to give examples is when you go out, for me as a queer person and as a person of color, I think it's very important to state the intersectionality of it, because to me as a queer person of color, going to these spaces really helped me see that there are places for me. And so I want to ask whether specific events or nights or collectives that really help you realize how important the nightlife scene is for you.
Sure, I can start. But I'm not actually thinking about like specific queer events, because I think it's really hard to define a queer event. And I also think for me something that really changed my thoughts about this was my moving from Ghent to Brussels, because in Ghent there was a lot of, I feel like in Ghent, when at least when I was there, which was like right after like the pandemic, and when people were having this like sorry, and everybody wanted to party really hard, and but then I felt like in Ghent the scene was very segregated, where it's like the parties I would go to were all like queer parties, and there was a very big scene of like a queer party scene, and then that was very explicitly queer, and then there was another scene that was sort of looked down upon by, I feel like, the queer scene back then. Like you don't go to Overport, for example, you don't go to Charlatan, and that all has their reasons. But then when I moved to Brussels, all of a sudden those contours about like what is queer nightlife and what is not became way vaguer. I think also because Brussels is so multi-diverse and stuff. But so for me, like, a definition of queer nightlife, I think it's more about this openness and this endless possibility that I don't think is necessarily always there in all the explicitly queer parties. And I also, and it's not only queer parties that are offering that to me. So I find it hard to, I don't know, approach it from these like contoured definition. But I don't know, maybe you want to add in something. So.
I do agree with you. I think it's really something that is hard to define. I think what make a queer party a real queer one is the team that is behind it, is the artists that are booked, it's the care that there is for the public, but also for the staff. I think it's all those little things that.
So like the crowd, no, like the people making it happen, because.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's not a thing that will say that it's a queer party or it's not. There is a lot of event and project that define themselves as that label themselves as queer, and at the end, in my opinion, sometimes it's not. So it's really a lot of little thing and a lot of care behind little thing that can make it happen. I think it's not really a label that we can apply. It's something that we need to think in the bigger picture. I think it's also really hard to reach in some more mainstream venues or mainstream project. I don't know if a party that happened in a really institutional space can really be queer. Yeah, I think it's depends on the how you positionate yourself, and yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And to go further on that, like we just like kind of said how a lot of spaces or collectives can say that they're queer, but the way they handle it is not necessarily queer. So my question now is, are there any values that you really see as part of queer nightlife? As in, we just said that you can say that you're queer, or you can not be a queer collective, but still bring that vibe. What are the specific parts of that vibe or those values that you feel like are parts of the queerness? For example, to me, the most important value that I have when I go to queer parties is that it's a safe party. That you create a safe space, that there are care people around, and like a small detail is just having somebody at the door explaining you the values of the venue of the club night to really make you feel like, okay, this is a part that I can be safe at. So in your experiences, what are the values that you really seek when you go out or when you seek for a queer party?
I think, or you want to start, Elise? Okay, thank you. In my opinion, it's a bit hypocrite to say that it's a queer party if, for example, it's not economical accessible, or there is not even a thought or a strategy behind like to make your party accessible. So I think it goes like through cheap tickets at the entrance, or also like some little tools like community tickets that are free and not reduced price, but also it goes from the ticket at the entrance but at the bar as well, try to keep a affordable price, because like it's really a boundary for a lot of people that are facing many struggles. Yeah, to go out if like it's super expensive, or as you said that there is no care, but once again it's really depend on who you are, because a party can feel safe or safer for someone, but it's not for someone else, because we are not all going through the same inequalities and discrimination. Yeah, just something to keep in mind. Like, in my opinion, a party can easily feel a bit... Oh, the door! Can feel a bit more safer for me, because at the end, I'm white, I am cis, and I'm not facing the same discrimination as someone that is a POC. So
Exactly.
it's really depend how you positionate yourself, and it's not because you are privileged that you cannot empathize and things about what don't concern you.
Yeah, exactly. To pick up on that, like I think even as queer people, we can still be allies in a way, especially if you're white and cis. There are some struggles that you just don't feel or just don't have, and it's not the goal to like really get how we feel, but it's very important to just support us and make sure that even though you feel comfortable, you have to take more measures to make sure that the other queer people are comfortable, because at the end of the day, the way that we define queerness, queer nightlife will not be the same because we have our own experiences.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, like like queer nightlife, like a key value is allowing space for everybody. And also, I think something that maybe hasn't been said, like we're there to have fun.
Exactly.
And that is
also,
no, but
don't
that
forget
is
the
really
fun.
something.
Don't
that
forget the fun.
Really, and that's why all the straight people want to come into our parties.
Exactly.
Because we really know how to have fun.
We know how to party.
Like,
We know how to party.
no, but if you go to like a straight club, it's a lot of the time. I feel like the club and the party is more of like part of like a mating ritual. And I'm not saying that queer parties don't have that, but we're not looking to mate in most situations, as in like finding a partner for life and like then there's a dark room, but I don't think that's comparable. Like that's not like the straight people that are all trying to but then it's the guys are trying to get the girls, and then they start to fight because they have to be these macho men, and sort of that energy where you're trying to take space and trying to show people like something that, but in doing so you're taking space away from other people.
Exactly.
And that sort of destroys the fun, I think. So I think for me, queer parties are really about having fun, about dancing, and about being collectively and having no other sort of. There are no ulterior motives, and I think that's the important one because I feel like in a lot of non-queer like nightlife culture, there's always an ulterior motive. It's it's going on a date. It's trying to catch a girl. It's trying to there's always this reason
something
to
extra,
go
yeah, there's a
out.
reason to go out.
That's another thing than a celebration of life.
Yeah.
To without I don't know
Extras.
plugging the party or something. But yeah,
Exactly, and it's a good
it's
point.
a great title.
It's a good point because I was just gonna ask to go further on it. Like we've seen that queer nightlife has become very big. A lot of people enjoy our parties. Also, people that are not part of our communities, which is nice because it brings everyone, literally everyone, together. But it also can be a hassle for us because when we open the doors for everyone, it's nice for them, but it can also become dangerous for us. We see a lot of clubs, a lot of spaces get gentrified, where we're mainly there for queer people and for us to find a safe haven. But it also brings negative parts with it, but also positive parts, of course.
Yeah.
And I think an interesting part of it is how we act when it happens. Because I have, for my own experiences, have had nights that I go to clubs thinking of it's only going to be queer, but then I meet people that are not necessarily part of our community. And even though I know those people don't mean bad or mean harm, I do feel less comfortable.
Yeah, like who am I to say who's part of my community?
Exactly, and that's also a big part of
Like,
it.
am I now the person who's gonna say
No, and
you're
I feel
not queer enough to be here?
No,
you're
but
not queer enough.
that's something I
Wear
sometimes
a
struggle.
pink shirt, whatever. like paint your nails. Like, you
I
can't
know,
really
but that's
do that,
something
right?
I very struggle with sometimes because I see people and I immediately get a view of them in my head. And I have to remind myself, it's not my space. It's not my
Can I
place
say
to
something
say
that maybe people haven't considered? Because a lot of all the parties are now queer parties.
Girl.
Because we've made it too easy for something to become a queer party. Because we've made these like you said, giving the info at the beginning before you enter. Those are all great things, but I feel like by emphasizing all those things instead of the core celebration of life, kind of leaving space for each other mentality, it's become formulaic.
Yeah.
Where it's if I want to make a safe space, I'm gonna have to do this, and this, and then I'm covered, and then I have my safe space.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people who don't have the sensibility, don't have a queer sensibility, let's just say it like that, will also approach it very formulaic like this, and have all the things covered, and then you can brand it like that. But I'm we've made it so easy by putting it in these formulaic ways to do it, and I get it because we have to organize, and it makes everything better. And I think it's good that we have all those things in nightlife, where it's also the safe space people in bigger venues, and it's become this bar that we expect to have. Otherwise, we just won't go, safer space scare and stuff, and that's a good thing. But we also, I think, have to define for ourselves as a community what queer life is more than that.
Of course.
What is it beyond all those things? And I think there's perhaps, I don't know, I feel like sometimes people are sort of lost that story where it's more than all these policies.
True.
I don't know,
Well,
maybe.
I was just going to ask Sasha, as somebody that works at the Recyclaar, I want to ask, how do you guys really come up with planning a party when you know it's going to be queer, or it's a queer organization? How do you go through it to make sure it's safe, that the people that you invite feel comfortable, that you guys feel comfortable, and especially your crowd feel comfortable? Is there a formula that you guys use, or is it just literally on the spot that you sense how you should do it?
No, there is not a strict protocol of what is queer and what is not. I think at the time, Recyclaar wasn't perceived as queer as it is today. Even in my opinion, it's not really a queer and queer-only space. This is not true. But I think right now, how we perceive it and we try to create safer space, it goes from a lot of work from the team I work with, and it's really milestone per milestone, little by little, to implement little rules and to bring reflection on things that could be better. And at the end, not on every aspect, but I think it work. Let's say
Work.
No, but it
Work.
like it really goes with, like, for example, to have a core team, as you said.
Mhm.
Also, it goes something that before COVID it didn't really exist in institutional venues. So stuff like that, but also to have like a security team that is more open-minded, sorry, and aware of queer struggles and inclusivity. So it wasn't like that in 2 days.
Mhm.
It
Takes time.
it really takes time, and it really goes with, as I said, create an ecosystem that goes like form your staff about those questions, not about queer questions, but about discrimination in general. Have a queer team at the bar, at the entrance, at the tokens, in the security as well. Like, try to implement little by little change, and apply little rules that we repeat often. And we do a lot of briefing. If you one day you come to to follow me during an event,
I saw that.
yeah, we do a lot of briefing, but like, often I was talking about that with my colleague yesterday, like saying, wow, the speech that we do before the event, we feel that it's been years and years that we are doing it, but it's little rules like, don't assume the genders of the people that
Exactly.
are coming. Don't say hi miss or hi mister, just say hi. Like, listen to the people that are facing some aggressions, and some problem. Like, trust the victims, and like having non-mixed, non-gender bathroom and stuff like that. Like, it's not something that happened in one day. It's really like hard work that the colleague that I work with implements, and shout out to them.
Yeah, I think it's very important to shout out also the people that did it before us, because when you look back a couple of years ago, before COVID, I remember safer spaces being very new and being implemented by collectives like Djahid that really focused on creating a safe space for Flinta people, but also for queer people. And I think a lot of other collectives and organizations really took notes because of that and tried to implement it in different spaces. Because when I started in nightlife in Ghent, when I started a queer collective, it was also one of our main tasks to take the rules that are already there and to take like the rules that, for example, again, Djahid implemented, and then kind of change it and make it more queer focused. I think it's very interesting to learn from each other and to also just give in and be like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Because I think a lot of problems come from people that think that they already know how it works, and they feel like they don't need to do the extra work in it. Because I've heard, I'm not going to name names, but there have been collectives and organizations that I know that were like, oh, but we don't need a safe space because we know our people are going to be nice. But that's the wrong, for me, that's the wrong way to go through it, because even though the people that come to your parties usually are nice, you don't know who the other people are going to be that are going to come to your party. And for those other people, it may be important to have those rules stated to them before they can actually act to it.
Can I? Or okay. Yeah, I have a super good example about that. I won't give name, but I remember like a kind of, let's say, straight collective that come to organize an event at Recyclar. Really was saying, no, we don't need care team, and stuff like that. We have a really good crowd and everything. And it was a night where we had a lot of issues with people that don't get that it's a simple rules that seem simple for us, but like we had an argument with someone from the public that didn't get that the bathroom was neutral or stuff like that, where I think it's really the basic things. And I think that changement can be implemented, like if you listen to queer people. But I see it at Recyclar, the people that made the thing change, and in a good way. It's people that come from a more alternative and political background that were invest that were quite activists, and so they brought political knowledge that was already applied since a long time, like for example to do speech at the entrance. Like in the mainstream venues, it's kind of new.
It's kind of new for them. Yeah.
Let's say after COVID, but in the more alternative and underground venues, like it exists since a long time. So yeah, I think we should listen to people that have a different background than us, and yeah, sometimes we can create a good change, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, what I was just thinking about with like the bathroom thing, is that also sometimes I feel like there's a lot of conflict, or like a lot, maybe a bit, but there can be conflicts provoked over stating something that there would be no conflict over if it wasn't explicitly stated. Like the bathroom thing, for example. Because I know like my parents' bar, the bathroom at the bar there, that's been a unisex bathroom for, I don't know, 20, 30 years maybe. Because it's just one bathroom. Nobody's ever made a problem out of it. And sometimes I feel like it's by saying like these are like making a point out of it, then you give people the ammunition to then go counter that point.
Exactly.
Because I also feel like sometimes we should let things come more natural. Yeah, and then you start from a like supposition that everybody's just trying to be nice, I guess. Yeah, and I feel like that can also be very powerful. But then again, you can't always do that, of course. Sometimes you have to be explicit about things. You have to set ground rules, but I feel like overstating rules can lead to people then
lead to more harm.
Yeah, and becoming revolting against it, and it creates aggression, and it creates this dynamic of like constant conflict that I also don't think is healthy necessarily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what you said, if people have a background in something else, it can really help you to define things that a lot of people don't know about. Because, for example, when in psychology we have a concept called the in and out group. The in group is the people that you really connect with and are really you can reflect with, and you see yourself in them. When you go to the in group, you feel safe because everybody around you gets you. But when you're part of an in group, you automatically create an out group, and the out group are the people with different views, with that act differently, that dress differently. And by creating that in group, for example, as queer people with the queer community, it gives. It forms an out group, which is the people.
Did we create the in
group? No. We kind of did.
I think there was an in group created, and through that we were out grouped.
Yeah.
And then from that out group, we made that an in group.
Wow.
Like I don't. No, but I think it's important to note that.
No, I kind of get it.
It's not like queer people came together and we're like, now we're gonna create our thing.
No. But it's try to make an example of when we do that, and when we try to only like identify ourselves with our group. The people that are not necessarily part of that group or just don't feel like part of that group will make a problem about it. Because when for example, in Ghent, when I host parties, when I do events that are specifically for my community, I'll make sure that my community is represented in every part of it. As in, when I curate the timetable, the DJs that I'm going to perform, the artists, everything, I will make sure it's only for my community. And I've had my friends that are not part of my community, like straight cis men, white men, come to me and be like, but why are you discriminating on us? And then I'm like, girl, it's not discrimination. It's just, it becomes weird to see that people make a problem out of something that shouldn't be a problem, because my response is always, you have a lot of spaces that you can go to and feel comfortable. My community does not have that. So I do want to create nights that are specifically for my community so that they can feel comfortable in the places that they go.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. And also there's a thing that, yeah, it's a bit tiring to hear this kind of comment, because like it seems it's the same thing with white people that scream to racism where they don't face it at all. As in French, we call them les ouin-ouin. I think it's a bit the same. Like there is no queer party and queer spaces because we just want to be in together. No, it was created because it's really spaces where we can try to don't face homophobia, transphobia, and also it was needed. Like Yeah, it's discrimination that a lot of people in our communities face, and having queer spaces, can sometimes avoid to go through that. So yeah, it's a necessity, and sometimes it's really tiring to hear straight and cis people. Yeah.
What I wanted to add is also that I think because of like the commodification of these queer spaces, where you see like bigger venues, bigger festivals, all sort of like queer washing their shit and being like, well, we have safe spaces now, blah, blah, blah. And I think that also makes then, your white straight friends feel like, even though at those very white, like queer washed, like commercialized things, they are still very welcome. But now they are being told everywhere, also in like the not very hyper specific queer spaces, all these things. And I think it gives people the idea that the queers are taking over, which is
But we're not.
which is ironic because we are not at all. Like, we're being fought all over, and like queerphobia is rising all over. But like, thank God we have Tomorrowland, we have a safe space, like, And I think, but that's fueling also this counter reaction. I think the fact that it's all over, but it's all over, but in a very vapid sense.
And that brings me right to my next question, actually. So we see many clubs and festivals stating to the outer world that they are queer friendly, that everybody's welcome there. But in reality, when you go there, there are still a lot of aggressions from the people that not only go there to party, but also the people behind the scenes. And I want to ask to both of you if you have had experiences in clubs, festivals, or with collectives where you did not feel safe as a queer person, or you just didn't feel respected in a way. For example, when I go to a venue and I just immediately feel like I get looked down upon because of the way I present myself. It's not only in nightlife, but also like I study at the university. I go to my master's class. I'm the only person of color. They see how I look, how I act, how I present myself. But then when I open my mouth and I show them that I actually do have the knowledge and I'm there for a reason, you can see on their faces sometimes that they're shocked, but not in a way that they're trying to be rude against me, but they just don't see it coming. And for me, that's sometimes very hard to swallow, that I still have to go into spaces and kind of prove myself because of the way that I look and the way that I represent myself.
You want to start, Elise, or?
Well, I must say in clubs and stuff, I don't necessarily, I haven't personally experienced this in like a very institutionalized sense. Like, sometimes things get messy, but that's just like interpersonal relationships can get messy, That's all I'm gonna say.
That's just on you.
But when you talk about like university and you show like that, you have the education and that's something they have to find out, that is something that I feel like I struggle with way less as a white person. And also since I started like transitioning and becoming like visually like girl, like I'm, I don't know if I'm unclockable, but people see, all right, she's doing the work, she's just trying to be a normal girl, like it's, and that, no, but you really feel people respect you more than when you're like very like non-binary and crazy looking and whatever, then people don't assume that. But because of my whiteness, I think most of the time when I'm in spaces, I'm always assumed to have earned my spot there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's. But I do think it's interesting how that changed, because I didn't have that before I transitioned. Because then I feel like people often thought I was like crazy, but I was also very messy. I looked like a very messy twink. But
you were
like,
very messy.
Yeah,
I do remember you were very messy.
Like this, like more clean, girl. Like she's just like it's different. It's different, certainly.
You get viewed in a different way depending on how you present yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even though you're the same person, in mind you're the same person, but the way, depending on how you represent yourself, people will change the way they look at you, sadly.
And but that's what I mean. Not everybody can be a diva in the daylight.
No.
That's why we need queer nightlife. Anyway, I'm gonna
preach. But to go back to your questions, I think sometime I think I'm going to a queer party and I'm disappointed because I can face homophobia, but at the end I really don't want to complain a lot because I'm gay cis white men. So like, yeah, I don't want to like at the end I don't face systemic discrimination every day. Yeah, the thing that impact me the most when I go to queer parties and at the end it's not really queer, even if you can feel it before you go there. It's just that I will be less CC. That's it.
I'll just be less CC.
Yeah, no, but like I think it's auto self-defense mechanism that we put. Yeah, I will just try to play on my straight passing. If it exists, I don't know. Tell me. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, I think it's the end of my answer.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, to go a bit further on that, we also experience a lot of microaggressions when we go backstage as artists, or as bookers, or as anything you do in nightlife, not only on the dance floor. Are there specific things that can happen backstage with the venue or the organization that can either feel you less comfortable or more comfortable as a queer person? Think about the way they look at you, the way they act with you, the way they respect you. It can even be through mail that you just see that they act a little different with you due to your identity. Think.
I feel like they're always very respectful towards me. I don't know. But you can really sense what I sometimes struggle with is the HRness of it all. Like it's like when people are like very respectful to you, but you sense this is like, because if they're not, they're sitting in HR tomorrow if I make a complaint about that. Like I also often feel like that sort of tension, and then it's nice to have that, but then it also feels a bit weird because like, well, you're not. Like, this person is doing their job, and part of their job is being nice to me. And I mean, that's really all you can do.
Yeah. But
you can't expect more than that, I assume.
Yeah.
Like,
and do you think maybe, could you maybe name, if you know, ways that those people can make it seem less like it's part of their job, but make it feel more human when they act with you? Like, are there small things that they could change, that a venue, that a manager could change, and the way they act through you, that it seems more sincere?
No, but I don't think it's that burden is necessarily also on them. I think that this is just something that comes with, you know, like the sort of society we live in, where there's a lot of rights granted legally that are not necessarily seen societally. Like, you know, like it's illegal to kill people because they're trans, but that's still happening. And like, I don't know what as a society you can do more than that, but the things where I sense it in is when, you know, like the person from the like who's doing like all the technical stuff, like the engineers, when they misgender you. You know, like sometimes something like that happens, or like the person running the bar, and like someone who's like in the like organization but isn't necessarily closely associated with like bookings and writers and whatever, and then they get corrected by somebody else, and then it's this whole sorry,
they make it a huge thing sometimes.
But I get that makes. If I would do that, I would also make it a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like...
I get it. Bitch, I get it.
I think that's just human. But it's those small interactions where you feel like I'm living in this safe space, but this safe space is also a bubble. And sometimes you get confronted with that fact. And that can be hard, I think.
Yeah, I think it makes people very uncomfortable too, especially when you're not used to that. And you're used, for example, as a queer artist, you're used to play at queer spaces. You always feel comfortable because you know the space is there for you. But when you have to leave that bubble and go to, say, a booking in a different country, a different city where you don't know the people and you don't know if you're going to be safe, it really makes you feel uncomfortable, and it can really affect not only your feelings as a person, but also your set or how you progress through the night or how you host the events, which again makes it very important that as a venue or as an organizer, that you try to make sure that before the party even starts, that those people already know that it's going to be a safe space. And you can do that by the way you communicate with them by sharing your values beforehand. Like what I always like to do is before I work with an organization, I tell them beforehand, before we even start discussing anything, these are the values. This is what I stand for. This is how I'm going to do. If you feel like there's something that you don't agree with, that's fine, but then we're not going to work together. And that's just how I go. And if you think that and if you don't understand something,
But aren't you then also putting that person in a position where aren't you then also forcing that person to become that person that I just talked about?
no, but I was just
Where
going to
it's
say,
like I'm being inclusive because it's part of my job.
but then I'm going to say but if they don't get something and they want to talk about it, then I would happily inform them about what I mean and how I feel about those topics.
Yeah.
But I just know I have seen people that saw what I expect from them or from their organization, and they realize, oh, we can give that. And I think as an organizer, you should be aware of that and just accept the fact that sometimes you cannot assure something as creating a safe space, not because you don't want to, but because you don't have the means or you don't have the space for it, the infrastructure. And then I think it's very important that you just confess and be like, okay, I'm going to be very honest with you. We cannot ensure this. And I think it's very respectful when somebody has the power to say that, because I have had venues come to me and be like, listen, we want to do queer spaces, we want to do safer spaces, but we don't have the means and we don't have the knowledge. Can you work with us? And I think that I always saw it as a compliment when people came to me and said, we want to do it, but we don't know how. And that's the message for everyone that hosts events or works at a club. If you don't know how to do it, ask people. Ask the people that know and ask the people that have the knowledge, because those are the people that can bring the change with you.
You're the booker, so I'm gonna let you
talk about it. This is your job.
I as an event organizer, like as you said, happily, mostly at Recyclar, I work with people that are concerned or at least feel concerned or understand and are really open-minded and caring. So lately, I think it's just common sense to gender well someone or don't ask inappropriate questions or stuff like that. Like just behave normally with queer people as you will do with cis and straight people. And as a booker, sometime when we receive some proposition for gigs, I always discuss it with the artists that I work with. I say really in a straightforward way what I think about those events, but these are confidential WhatsApp message and about the event, and you can feel when a venue is not queer but try to do well, and sometimes they want to book an artist that I'm working with, and you feel they are a bit like mais at the end, happily, and because we are in 2025, I think it goes better. And from what I heard so far, because it's not a long time that I'm doing this job, but so far I haven't sent my artists in gigs where they got misgender or really treated badly by the staff. Happily, maybe it will happen, and I will come back to talk about it.
Part 2.
I think because we are still lucky about it, and still happening. This is why we are also talking about it.
Cute. Okay, but now we've talked a lot about the negative parts, but let's focus on the good parts too.
Woo!
So I want to ask, do you have specific examples of parties, venues, artists, organizers that really did well? That really prove that, see, this is how you do it. This is how you act, and this is how you create the safe space. Like, what are examples of the ways they act, or you can even name drop. You can even give a shout out to like the people that you really appreciated when working with them.
To stay in Brussels, it's not really nightlife, but I think that Les Grands Carmes managed to have a queer programmation and be super diverse and inclusive, but also I think it's mostly due to the fact that it's an associative space. Therefore, the event and the activities that happen here, I feel that are quite inclusive and for sure queer. The one I went to. But also spaces that are not specifically queer and parties that are not specifically queer. And I will give a shout out again. Now I'm thinking about Call of Duty and Viciosa that are made by queer people, but and are labeled as queer parties. And at the end, I think they do well because, like, yeah, I really feel safe to go there, and it's always like good parties. Nevertheless, they also manage to have sometimes a more straight crowd that come there. But I think they mingle well. They mingle well together, and yeah, it's also a positive point that they organize that well, because also it's well thought, as I said, by queer people, but also they book queer artists, so they are concerned by those topics. And yeah, I think in Brussels I
think in Brussels it's nice. That's why I also like move more to Brussels now when I go out, because I think what I always say is, when I compare Ghent with Brussels, is Ghent is striving to be diverse and inclusive, while for Brussels, it's an inherent part of nightlife. The queerness and the diversity is more part of nightlife here in Brussels, while in Ghent, it's not quite there yet. So people need to strive for it and actively work toward those spaces. And I feel like in Brussels, that's not really the case. I mean, for some people it is, and some organizations it is. But when I go to a party here, I will immediately feel more safe because I know it's Brussels. But when I go out in Ghent, I always have to be sure to check the events, because there are a lot of venues that I like Funke, I mainly go to, and usually I know it's going to be a good party, but I always have to check beforehand what kind of night is it, just to be sure that I'm going to be safe. And I feel like I don't really have that struggle here in Brussels, because it has evolved so fastly in comparison to other cities, which makes it more safe for us. And it's always a good time. Oh, it's always a good time. Mama, I always have a good time when I'm in Brussels.
Alice, you want to add something? I was gonna shout out the same, but I also want to shout out Recyclaar. I really because it's really a space I've never had a bad experience at Recyclaar. I always love the parties, and I mean, I always take my straight friends. They also like it. Maybe that counts for something.
It's important to say it, and it's important to give the flowers to the people that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think what you said about Brussels is also, but also what I kind of like about Brussels is that it's so anarchist.
True.
That we're all fighting the powers that be together. Like, I feel like there's more of a collectivity. While in Ghent there's way more infighting. Like, I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
No.
Like,
we've had our fair share.
Meanwhile in Brussels, I mean, we are fighting,
Fighting
the powers that be, mama. We are,
Exactly.
A lot of fundraisers I don't know. And like you said, it's more inherent, I think, in Brussels. Yeah. Indeed, it is.
And I think a lot of other collectives and spaces can learn a lot about how the spaces work here. And you can do it easily. Like for me, for example, if somebody is looking that it's hosting events, if you don't get it yet, come to Brussels. I would literally tell people, if you want to understand how to create a safe space, go to Recyclaar. Go to other venues that do well, go to other collectives that do it well, and really feel the energy. Because for me, it's really the energy that does it. When I enter a space and I just feel like, I'll be comfortable here. And to me, it's hard to find that in big spaces, why I don't really like going out. And like I usually like the music and Sedus and stuff, but to me, it's a little bit too big. And I immediately feel less comfortable there. Or also, like, when I go to free parties, low-key, it kind of hits right, because it feels more free, and nobody's... When you go to, for example, to free parties, it's definitely not queer, but everybody's just there for the music, and there's, like, the red thread.
But that's what I mean. You're trying to party without an ulterior motive, and that's what free parties do right, too, which is why I think it feels so queer or right. So right. Yeah. And that's what Viciosa does right, I think, too. But then also... I feel like it like Gelatina and like Call of Duty, people are just coming there to like dance and be a whore and be a slut.
Exactly. And
without an ulterior motive, like that's the definition of fun. And this it's all the straight people too. Because like, and let me say, I appreciate the fact that I can fight trades at parties that feel queer friendly.
Exactly. It's for the dolls.
I mean, give them their flowers.
Trade matters too. Trade matters too. All right, we have 7 minutes left, so I'm gonna ask 2 more questions. The first one is, when you think of festivals, venues, organizations that are not like that are actively not queer or like don't present themselves like that, what role do these have to play in maintaining safe spaces?
Could you repeat the question?
So you have like clubs and venues and organizations that are not necessarily queer or diverse, but they also have a role in maintaining a safe space for us, but also for them. Like I know collectives that are like literally just straight cis white men, but I love them because they know that they are. They know that they are not diverse.
Mhm.
They know that they are not diverse, but they in some way they accept it and try to find other ways to make sure that the spaces that they go in are safe. And my question is, what are the things that collectives like that can do to really maintain a safe space for not only us, but for everybody that goes to their parties?
There is many ways to create a safer space. Like you can create a safer space for queer communities, but you can see also the bigger picture. I'm thinking right now at Montage and that work with dance floor intimacies and Club Dérive. And for example, they proposed us a project where they will create like a sober space, but also they focus on accessibility for reduced mobility people. And also, yeah, it's also a way to create a safer space to integrate people that are neurodivergent, people that also, that don't consume, and so you create a sober space for that. And yeah, there is many ways to see sober spaces, to see safer spaces. Sorry. Yeah, I think it goes through these kind of things, and also, yeah, there is just some basic rules, in my opinion, just to have parity. How do you say it? Parité?
Girl, I don't speak French.
Sorry, my bad.
Wait, parité?
Yeah, but some bit of diversity on your lineup, and not just the casual only boys club. Yeah. It goes through things like that, in my opinion, to create safer spaces.
Yeah.
No, but that's really a thing, because the lineup and stuff. Because my experience, like my straight guys who like are DJs, and like they're all fun and they're all great. And for them, what I do feel like it's really about the music for them, because I guess that's all they have. Like, like. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't necessarily have this bigger, I don't know, bigger thing they're trying to do. They're just trying to make music. But then also, like, when you're at a home party and everybody's DJing, you cannot get between guys. There's no way you're inserting your stick. Like, that's impossible. So, I do have a suggestion. Since, you know, you don't have to be a diva during the night because you can all be it during the day, can we please put the DJs like again in some back room?
I actually know. I get that.
I think that would also make for like a crowd that does way more crowd control in and of itself, because you're watching each other and you're all creating a dance floor that's not all looking at one side. So there's more interaction on the dance floor. There's more movement, I think. You know, I would also like this in queer spaces. But I think in queer spaces, there's more of a case to be made for people to look at the DJ, because it's more of like a...
It's more con.
It's more like, I'm just thinking about like ballroom, and it's like, well, you just see people strut, you see people do their whims and have their fun. And it's inspiring.
It's more of a performance sometimes, but like in a good way, not performative, but a performance.
Yeah, but when if I think about myself,
DJs, I think it's more a performance.
I think I would DJ better, and I would like it better if I was not in front of a crowd.
Yeah, I get that.
I do think that.
I get that.
But yeah, that's my suggestion.
Yeah. Okay, we have 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna end this with the last final question. And the question is, if there is one message that you could give to organizers, venues, bookers, wait, let me read that. If there's one message you want to give those people, and that you want them to get from this conversation, what would it be?
I want them to book me. I take check. I take cash. I take.
Exactly.
No. But really, I want to see. I want to see even more dolls on lineups.
Exactly.
I really do, and I would
Exactly.
love to see like more all doll lineups.
Yeah.
And more doll, because now a lot of the time there's like one trans girl or like trans person, whatever,
Mhm.
like on a lineup, and then
Everyone else.
Yeah, but I would like for us to unite.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
any
yeah,
dolls
yeah.
who wanna make a doll party, contact me. Yeah, that's my minute, I guess.
Thank you. So book her, please. Please do it. No, what I would like to say it's book trans artists, book
Mhm.
POC artists, listen to people that are concerned, go to alternative venues, be curious, go to see artists that you don't know yet. Yeah, it's
It's actually very easy. It's not that hard. Okay, great. Oh, first of all, I want to thank you both for the nice conversation.
Thank you so much.
It was very nice, and I'm very happy that we got to do this. And thanks everyone for watching. I'll be back in 2 months with a different topic that I will share online, so stay tuned. Bye bye.
See you.
Voila.